My job is to kick us off and get us ready to go beyond, right? This is the Beyond Summit. But the word beyond, there are a lot of connotations that come to mind when I think about it. And I don't know about you, but what first comes to mind is a rocket ship blasting off. That's what I think of when I think of beyond. Now, I have to confess, I'm the type of person that goes to an amusement park and I hold everybody's bags and I take all of the pictures while everybody else is riding roller coasters. Anybody else? That's you? Yeah, you're my type of people. So I wouldn't be the first to sign up to go on a spaceship, but I looked it up. If you have $600,000, you can book a ticket with Virgin Galactic and make your astronautic dreams come true. But we're not talking about going to space. We're talking about a different type of beyond, a different destiny that we're trying to reach towards, a different place we're trying to get to. We've gathered today for a particular purpose, our own mission of sorts. That mission is to create opportunities that allow for the fostering, the development of viable career paths and partnerships that will connect in education, industry, and our communities. Pathways and partnerships that will empower every student with skills that leads to lasting opportunities and workforce prosperity. It would be great if we could say that that was the case for every student, for every industry, for every community. But sadly, it's not. And that's why we have to have a summit like this one. On one hand, we tell kids that if they study hard and follow a certain path, it will lead them to a good job and all will be well until they reach adulting. We can't help them with that. But we tell them, just follow this plan, check the boxes, you'll get to where you're trying to go. But then on the other hand, we work in industries that say that they're hiring high demand jobs. But the kids go to apply and then they receive rejection letter after rejection letter. They've done everything right. It's not their fault. They follow the map, but yet it feels like there's a bridge to nowhere that they're on. There's a disconnect there. Oops. All right. This bridge is actually called the Bridge to Nowhere. It was built in 1936, and it is a relic of a flood in 1938 that destroyed the access road leading to it. So you can hike to it. In order to get there, you have to go through 5 miles of trekking through rugged terrain, climbing over rocks and going through streams and valleys. But eventually you can get there. But once you get there, where are you going to go? It leads nowhere. In essence, it is a physical embodiment of what brought us here today. Even when we try our hardest to create programs with impact, encourage those in our communities to keep believing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, we end up right back at the bridge to nowhere. The good news is that's not where we will choose to stay. There's a different kind of bridge, a bridge that goes beyond the limits of the resources that are available, beyond what we thought was possible. A bridge that holds space and time and place in a balance to allow for the nurturing and development of what is needed to create a vibrant and thriving environment. A bridge that connects Germany and Denmark underneath the Baltic Sea. I know, just stay with me. This is the Fehmarn Belt Tunnel. When completed, it will be the world's longest immersed tunnel. Its purpose is to connect Denmark and Germany, creating a conduit, a via that will foster better connectivity across Europe. When completed, it will save travelers time and provide a more environmentally friendly way of commuting, but most importantly, it will provide a much-needed bridge between people and jobs that can make a difference. That sounds great and all, but you may be wondering, how exactly are they going to build this thing? The tunnel is actually under construction right now. Factories are set up on the Denmark side and on the German side, where precast concrete structures are being created on the surface, transported to the very precise locations, and then being connected and sealed below the sea. It seems pretty simple. Add one section from Denmark, add one section from Germany, and eventually we'll meet in the middle. It's like putting Lego blocks together, right? It should be good, yeah. But when you consider what it takes to make this successful, to actually connect from Germany to Denmark, starting at one side, starting on the other side, and meeting in the middle, the stakes are quite high. There's plenty of room for error, but the teams have designed and planned for a precision of about half an inch. Half an inch is all they're giving themselves. Now, I'm not advocating that the bridges that we're going to build here today as we develop and plan our CTE program should be as accurate or as precise as the Fehmarn Belt Tunnel. But what I am asking is that today we build bridges that will allow us to go beyond. Each of us has a story that tells the journey of how we got to where we are today, why we're sitting in the seats we're sitting in or standing where we're standing. If you read my bio in the back of my children's books, you'll find out that civil engineering and construction were not my first career choice. I actually wanted to be a vet. But before that, I didn't put this in the bio, so I'm letting you guys in on a little secret. I wanted to be a CSI agent. Oh, yeah. Growing up, I would watch TV with my parents, and we had a schedule. Monday nights were CSI nights. I couldn't wait to sit and learn about the case that was unfolding in front of my eyes, try to focus on everything that was being said, and the different actions that might have give insight into what the criminal might have been intending. I paid close attention to the methods, the techniques that were used to examine the crime scenes, and how they used problem solving and deductive reasoning to solve the case. Man, I wanted that job. That was going to be me, y'all. Some other kids may have asked for a guitar or some other toy for Christmas. I asked for a CSI kit. This kit allowed me to get a hands-on experience of what it might feel like to actually live out my dream at the time. I was super excited to unbox it and to get to work as a CSI agent in training and reconstruct the face of someone deserving of justice. But over time, I lost interest and decided to stick to just being a vet. I grew up in New Orleans on 2.5 acres of land, about 15 minutes outside of the city. We had horses, we had dogs, we had about every small animal you could think of, although my dad never let me get a goat. Anyway, since animals would occasionally get sick, I made it my mission, my job, to research and study what could have caused their illness and what we needed to do in order to treat it. When our dogs had puppies, I would put an oversized shirt on, go and make a little bottle and feed the runs to the litters to try to get them back up to health. If our horses were starting to have a stomach ache, I would try to see what caused it and how much time do we have before we need to get the vets to intervene and before it turned into something worse. And on top of this, my dad's a farrier. So usually I spend my weekends with him, going around the state, visiting different barns and stables, and watching him trim the hooves and put shoes on horses. So seeing my interest in animals, my dad scheduled some time for me to visit the LSU vet school. It was awesome. It was awesome. I felt like a celebrity standing next to my dad and being shown all of the behind the scenes stuff and the cool technology of what the vets were doing in there. And I was like, man, this is what my life would be like if I were a student. That was until I realized something very important about my career choice. I don't like being around blood. Yeah, I know. You thought I would have connected those out sooner, right? And I was okay with helping rescue the animals. You know, the puppy comes in, you can take care of it. But when it came to putting the animals down, I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I had an issue on my hands. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grow up. I knew I liked to solve problems. I knew I liked helping people and animals. I knew that I was good at math and science. I also knew that my violin teacher at the time said that if I wanted to go pro, I had to practice like 5 hours a day. I was not doing that. So it left me in limbo until Hurricane Katrina hit. I was 14 years old at the time, and with 8 hours spent in the car evacuating, I had a lot of time to think. There was something I didn't quite understand about the whole situation. Each year, local Popeyes would give out a hurricane tracking map, and being the little scientist that I was, I made it my job to listen to the news and track the longitude and latitude of all of the storms as they made their way closer to Louisiana. Katrina wasn't really on my radar, and neither was Katrina on the radars for many people. Even when adding the speed at which the situation turned for the worse into the equation, there were still elements that I couldn't quite wrap my head around. Why wasn't the city more reinforced for this? Why did people not know how to properly utilize the contraflow system? Why wasn't there a hurricane hotel strategically designed to house those who couldn't evacuate? My list of whys carried on as I sat and watching the aftermath on the news, and even then there was something inside of me that wasn't satiated. That's when my parents decided to put me into STEM camps. Over the summers that followed, I attended camps at 3 different campuses across America, and in each of these, we were introduced to various science and engineering disciplines. We went on a boat trip in Boston and studied different creatures to get a taste of marine biology. That stuff was great, but I started to see a through line that connected the dots between me and New Orleans and Katrina. That through line was civil engineering. By my estimation, at this time I was probably around 17, If I could study civil engineering, I would learn the things that would help me to prevent the next Katrina for New Orleans and other cities. I had figured it out. So off to SMU I went to become a civil engineer. I hit the ground running when I made it to campus, excelling both in and outside of the school. But again, I had a little problem. I could do the work, I could pass my classes, but I just didn't feel very fulfilled in doing so and dreaded the idea of this, my homework, essentially becoming my real work. If this is what I'm doing when I'm in school and I don't really like it, do I really want to have a career doing this work? That was until I had an internship with the city of New Orleans, the Department of Public Works. During my time, I had an opportunity to work in the city's traffic engineering department. We had the usual administrative responsibilities, but what really piqued my interest was when we got to go on field trips to visit actual projects. Then the work became easy. I would happily review all the paperwork and plan sheets, perform any calculation you put in front of me, do whatever it took to make this trip successful. And on the days of the visits, come rain or shine, I was going to put on my work boots, put on my hard hat and safety vest to go look at the installation of a new streetcar line or determine if the length of a school zone was sufficient. I had figured it out. My bridge at that time, though still under completion, was leading me to somewhere that has landed me before you today. What was happening each step of the way was a straightening and a narrowing of my path. Life, people, organizations were guiding me along the way, providing direction that would allow me to make better decisions and also putting up proverbial roadblocks if I was getting too far off course. So today we sit with the power in our midst to do just that, to create these bridges, these pathways right here in our schools, our communities, our industries. So what it looks like is this. This is our bridge, or an example of what our bridge may be here in North Texas. It looks like DASC, bringing in subject matter experts to speak to students about their life story and careers, where they can be introduced to the various ways in which they got there and identify with those people. It looks like TEXO, Amy and Lorinda, bringing those same students out of the classroom and allowing them to get hands-on experience, building a circuit and seeing the light bulb turn on, both literally and figuratively. It looks like my friend Shamika of Pre-College Solutions, providing valuable and key information about how to financially prepare for college in a way that leaves you with little to no debt. And last but not least, it's the people at SMU and the Student Athlete Success Department, realizing a need to connect college athletes with an access to network and interact with professionals so that they have a higher chance of landing a job if their sports careers don't pan out as intended. With all of these organizations, they're doing things with purpose and intention, just like you. That's what it's going to take if we're really going to go beyond. We need to work together to build a bridge so that when our students are ready to take the next step, it's as secure and intact as the Fairmont Bell Tunnel and doesn't feel like they've been sent on a quest that leads them to a bridge to nowhere. As we're building this bridge, we need to provide every opportunity we can to let them experience it for themselves. Give them a taste of what life will be like when they are there. We need to connect the dots for them in places that they don't quite understand yet and guide them along the path using the resources and expertise that we have access to. And lastly, we need to be real and not sell them an unrealistic dream. We each have a role to play at some point along this path. I'm not sure what it is for you, and what I am sure of is that you have what it takes to go beyond, to create the pathways and partnerships that will lead to prosperity, to form the foundation that will be a lasting legacy of success, to form the community and connectivity that is needed to nurture it along the way. So today I ask that you go beyond today for a brighter tomorrow, and that together we go beyond. Thank you so much for Region 10 for having me today, and thank you to the sponsors of this summit. If you're in my upcoming sessions, I look forward to seeing you again in a little while. If not, feel free to connect with me throughout the day in the vendor area while I have my books and other merchandise available. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn using the QR code right here. Thank you again, and let's go beyond.